Welcome to the Misfit One Lifestyles with Elizabeth Colin. She will awaken and connect with your Misfit One. Are you tired of the ups and downs in your life? Are you ready to live a healthy lifestyle once and for all? We are talking about all aspects of your life. Being fit is not just physical, it's also your mind and soul. Learn how to take steps in your life to move towards your goals. Elizabeth's goal is for everyone listening to the sound of her voice to get fit. Let's get focused, let's get intentional, and let's transform. Now here's your host, Elizabeth Colin.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Misfit One Lifestyles with your girl, Elizabeth Colin, also known as Misfit One. And Hunty, I have someone you want to talk to. Ladies, this is so important. We have Jack Perez, and she is giving us knowledge on how we can start being alive in our midlife. How you doing, Jack?
I'm doing great, Elizabeth. It's an honor to be here. Thank you for hosting me.
Thank you so much for coming on because, it is so important. Of course, I stalked you, because I'm a stalker, but
it takes one to know one. I'm a stalker as well. So you're in good company, Elizabeth.
Yeah. I mean, it's so amazing because you returned to stage. You are a woman who has given us love and life, baby. I mean, tell us a little bit about you first before I start bombarding you with questions.
I'm happy to share a little bit about me, Elizabeth. So yeah, I mean, I did the corporate thing like so many of us do and became a corporate dropout. I like to say, in the previous century, last century, in 1999 was the last time I worked for anybody.
Wow, bravo.
I know, right? Doesn't that just seem crazy that we're old enough now that we can talk about the last century?
Yeah.
Right. And then, I was a marketing and PR consultant for years. I had my own marketing PR firm in the Bay Area in San Francisco, California for a while, and then decided to have a family. So I had a family kind of late in life. I started my family at 38. Really wanted to be home for him. And so I backed out of the business that I had started with my husband at the time in San Francisco and decided to go into what is called like fractional work or fractional executive work. So I would be like a part-time CEO or a part-time VP of marketing. And I did that for his entire childhood, which was great because it allowed me the flexibility to read at his school, to hide behind the building, to watch him walk home when he was, too old to be walked home by mama, but mama didn't think he was old enough to really walk home by himself. So, and then, in my early 50s, like so many of us, I got run over by menopause. Now, I know so many of us get through menopause without even a hitch, but Elizabeth, for better or for worse, menopause literally hit me like a tractor trailer.
Bam. Because menopause, me too. Yeah, it was like, and on some areas I had it better than others, on some things, but on others I was like, menopause is crazy and nobody has answers that I knew.
That's actually the biggest problem, right? Is that so I'm now about to be 59 and I started my business, which was a direct reaction to the problem I was facing while I was going through this menopause transition, because I couldn't, as you were saying, there were no answers out there. And my medical doctor, I went through, I think, 3 or 4 different medical providers throughout that transition because I kept getting what I consider, I don't know if we're allowed to swear here, but
let's do it. You tell the truth.
Bullshit answers to my problems, right? So, I had gained 30 pounds. I couldn't sleep at night. I had horrible hot flashes. I was anxious for the first time in my life. I was a crazy person.
I'm going to pause right there because anybody know me? Does that sound familiar? Did Jack just Describe me to a T. I gained weight. Don't know why. My doctor was like, you look good. Who cares? I care. Like, I care. I just want to know what's going on. And
Right.
like you said, it was nothing. And by the way, you look amazing. I want to see your ID 59. Pooey.
Well, it's true. Yeah. But, and I think, yeah, so I wasn't satisfied with all the no answers and the lack of information. And I thought, and you just proved my point, I thought there's no way I am the only woman out there feeling like this.
Right.
And feeling frustrated and isolated and as if I don't matter and that I'm becoming invisible and disappearing. And the medical community isn't giving me any of the answers. And I tried, you name it, I tried it, Elizabeth. I tried supplements. I tried intermittent fasting. I tried everything under the sun. And as it turns out for me, and I know this is not the answer for all women, and I'm not here providing solutions for anyone. I'm here to share my story so that other women don't feel alone, don't feel isolated, don't get discouraged and give up. It took me years to figure out how to fix it. And I finally figured it out what worked for me. And it happens to be bioidentical hormone replacement therapy for me personally.
Right. Yeah, because that's who we talking to is you. Right.
Yeah.
We want to hear about you and how you founded your company and how that went into play, because that's so important.
Yeah. So to that point, during this time and realizing that so many of us don't have the information, I also began to realize that menopause is only one of a gajillion opportunities and challenges that seem to present themselves for women in particular at this season of life. And you can like, I can name them. I can start naming them. Like it's mind numbing. Everything from if you had a family, you're dealing with either surly teens or you're dealing with empty nest.
Oh my God, Jack, that is so crazy. When I went to the empty nesting thing, it hit me so hard. Like I was cray. I cried every day. The summer was okay because summer, right?
Yeah.
But when that school year hit and her first year in college,
yeah,
every day, Jack.
You're not alone though. So many women, like they go into they go into their babies' rooms and they sit on their babies' beds and they look at their babies, smell their babies' pillows while their babies are off drinking.
Partying all night at 2:30 every day. I would get so sad because I knew she wasn't coming home. She didn't have dance. She didn't have this. She just wasn't coming home. And I actually ended up writing an article about that because I was trying to research and nobody was like, I'm crazy. I mean, I'm crazy, but I can't be the only crazy.
And you're not. And you know what though? Some women are super thrilled to get their house back. And they're like, they have a passport in hand and they can't wait to travel. I myself, I went nuts after my son left. I had to wait a year because I had a terrible skydiving accident where I ended up breaking my back and 3 different vertebrae. So I had to postpone once I was released from motherhood prison. I still had to postpone. I was in purgatory for a little while, but I started traveling like a crazy person. And I went, I don't even know, like 7 or 8 different countries in a period of like 6 months. I lost my mind because I was so excited about not being saddled with everyday parenting requirements that but see what your reaction of being super sad and every day at 2:30 feeling the loss that your baby wasn't coming home from school and my reaction to hit the road like a crazy person, they're both normal. And they both should be accepted as normal. And that was the major impetus for me to start Cool Life because I wanted to start a place, a digital platform where we could come and read expert advice and tips from other women who know what they're talking about. And so, at the beginning, right, you talk about like when I first started and I created the first website and I started writing all the copy myself. And I'm not an expert at all of those topics. I mean, I'm not an expert in dating after 50 or how to date with a dry vagina or any of those things. I had to go look for those women. And I started, as we talked about earlier, stalking. I called it research, but
Right. Yeah. That's what I'm doing. Research.
I called it research, but it was stalking. I wanted to know what women who were in the know, who were helping other women, what they were talking about, what advice they were bringing to the table, how they could help. And I went to these women and I said, listen, I really want to put this all together in one repository where women can know if they go there and they peruse the content, that they know that they're going to be empowered, supported, helped, not feel alone, and also be able to reach out for resources if they need them. You might not need the resources, but if you do need them,
they're there.
They're there.
No, Jack, that's the problem. And I love that Cool Life is normalizing the aging process. Because I think you said it earlier. Once we get to, and this is one of the questions I wanted to talk to God when I have questions. Why, when we get to menopause, those ages, we seem devalued. Our job is complete. We've had the babies. We've raised the babies. Now you're dismissed. And it's scary.
It's scary, but think about it. It's also an opportunity to do whatever the F you want, because you have checked all the boxes. So we could look at it as, why are we being dismissed? Why are we not being valued? And I don't disagree. I mean, I'm working on the fact. I am working on that. I'm working on that by giving us a platform where we can make our voices heard, because I do believe that the years on the planet that we have all had, and all the experiences and all the things that have gone well and all the things that have not gone well, and all the times we've had to get back up and start over again, all of that is invaluable information that I want to have our younger sisters have access to.
Absolutely. And you know what? Now this is back then, right? But now I have embraced it. I mean, I'm gonna be 51 in a couple of months.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. I'm like, wow, time is flying.
When's your birthday?
June.
Okay. Mine's in July. So
yeah. So I have really appreciated and normalized it to my new normal.
Right.
If that makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, that's what back to your point, right? Like, you were sad, I was happy. Right. They're both normal reactions. And the women out there who are frustrated and feel like maybe they're feeling shame because they were so happy that their kid is gone and that they're off gallivanting. Well, I don't think any shame should be wrapped around that. Or maybe they're feeling shame because they feel weak, because they can't get past how sad they are. Well, but you're not weak. That's just how you're processing the grief. Right. And they're both normal. They both should be accepted, and they both should be supported. And that's how I feel about, all the other opportunities that we have, right? Because raising a teen, sometimes you're also dealing with aging parents. There's a lot of women in our age group that have their teenagers stealing their car at 3:00 in the morning. And then at 5 a.m., the phone rings because the healthcare provider, or their mom is calling them to say that their mom fell down and broke a hip.
Right.
And you're stuck in the middle, and that sandwich generation stuff. Right. And that is why I wanted to build a repository, a place where women could go to and know that they're going to get valuable information from women who do this for a living. They are thought leaders, industry thought leaders, and they're global. They're worldwide. My thought leaders come from from New Zealand to Spain to UK to Canada. And of course, most of them are from the US. But yeah, and I love that because they bring different cultural perspectives to the picture too, which I don't know about you, but sometimes when I can't solve a problem, I will take any and all input just to kind of see what can I find in here that maybe I've overlooked? Is there a nugget of information over here in a different way of thinking and in a different way of approaching that could help me in my current situation. And that's what I want to bring to women.
And how do we connect? How can we find Cool Life?
Yeah, and my apologies for the sniffles. I am just getting over a cold, so I sound, I don't know, maybe I sound like Demi Moore now. I don't know. We'll see. But
Amazing. You sound amazing.
that
Yeah.
raspy voice. You can, the website is available to everyone, and it's Cool Life, but it's spelled in a funky way. It's cattywampus, but it's a real word. I found a synonym to the regular word cool on Urban Dictionary, and it is spelled Kuel. So Cool Life. And you can just go to the website, and we're on all the socials, Elizabeth, everything from Pinterest to LinkedIn to Twitter to Instagram to Facebook, you name it, we're on it. And so we're not hard to find. We also, if you go to the About page, you'll see, I think there are 60 women now.
Yeah, I was looking there, over 60.
Yeah. So if any of your listeners are women who are experts in areas that are important to women, and they want to be a thought leader and they want to join the roster, please reach out, because my table, I just keep adding chairs to the table because I think it's really important to make sure there is space for all of our voices. Our community is just that strong, that much stronger for it. And
Absolutely.
yeah. No, I mean, I saw you pointing to yourself, so I will
Yes.
reach out.
I am considered an expert in my field. I didn't want to say that because that's like a shameless plug, but
it's not shameless though, because
RuPaul said it all the time. You got to say it now. But what's so important is that it is, to me, very inspiring to look at you and other women who are at a certain age in our life. We made it. Like you said with you earlier, when my kids, one of my daughters, this is so funny. My youngest is 24, and she had asked at one time for me to be a surrogate. Exactly. Did you see how your eyes did that? I was like, no, ma'am. Like, are you, huh?
I already wrecked my body for you. I'm not wrecking it for somebody else.
Honey, and I thought, like, that's the craziest thing I have ever heard. But she was dead serious, okay?
Did you laugh, or were you so flabbergasted?
I was like, what you mean this? Like, I carry your child? Yeah, I'll take care of that. I'll do, no, that's a big no. But mom, you're in such good shape. No, ma'am, I did it. Listen, I have done my time.
Yeah.
So my kids always say, you always say, do your time like it was prison. And I love how you said the moment that I laughed so hard.
It kind of is.
I've done my time.
Yes. I hear you. And I mean, at least your kids are, my kid's only 20. So I still have one of those ankle shock bracelet things on my leg that occasionally buzzes. And whenever it buzzes, I know I just have to move money into his bank account. I mean, it's just like it vibrates, electrifies me, and I have to move money. That's basically what I am right now, is an automatic teller machine.
Yeah, and you trained well. It only takes a buzz.
It only takes a buzz, and I'm immediately transferring money. It's crazy. He has me so well trained.
I just love the fact that you get it, and when we think about aging, you said it best. We can look at it as, oh, woe is me, or I get to do whatever the F I want to do, using your exact words, because that's exactly what my son told me when he's my middle. When he was in the 11th grade, I cried the whole 11th grade, cried all 11th grade. And he was like, why are you so sad? I'm like, well, what am I going to do? Blah, blah, blah. And I had another one. And he was like, well, you have Allie, but she was, but it's coming, right? It's like, and so he said, no, what do you want to do? That was like, I don't know what I want to do. So then you get a whole new life.
Yeah.
That you get to do whatever you want to do.
And the best part, Elizabeth, is that for the first time in the history of humanity, we have been gifted basically an extra lifespan. So if you think about it, like in the early 1900s, the average lifespan of a white woman was 51. Of a person of color, such as yourself, wasn't even that high.
Officer, we didn't make it that high.
No, you didn't make it that high. So yeah, there were individual people of color that made it to 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, whatever. Of course there were. There were individual women that made it to that level as well. But as a cohort, as a collective of humans, this is the first time in the history since we've been on the planet that there is such a large contingency of women in this age group. And because our quality of life now is so much better for so much longer, think about it. Once we're done with our biological imperative, we get another 20, 30, 40 years sometimes.
Yes.
Well, what are you going to do with that 20, 30, 40 years? And I'll tell you, I think there is a huge chasm between mini skirts and Depends, adult diapers, right? And so in that space between the time where I may not want to wear a mini skirt and I don't wet my pants, that space, that's where I think we can live our really big, cool life. And that's the space in which my idea lives and my hope and my mission lives in that.
That's awesome, because that is exactly what you're doing. You are redefining what midlife will look like.
What it can look like. And that's the thing, is it can look, so what I think is cool, which is traveling, may look very different to someone else who thinks what cool is, making sure that they can spend one full day with a grandchild and pick up that grandchild from, right? See how excited you got about grandkids? So see what I'm saying? But you get to choose that.
Absolutely.
You get to do that for yourself. You're not doing it for anybody else. And as women, we have been programmed from cradle, it seems like, to be concerned with other people. Don't be too loud. Don't be too brazen. Don't be too this. Don't be too that. Whatever it is,
Don't be too fill in the blank.
Don't be too fill in the blank. Whatever that is.
Right.
Now you can be too whatever you want.
I love it.
And who's going to tell you otherwise?
Who's going to check me, boo?
I'm not going to check you, boo. I'm going to let you do you. I'm going to do me. And I'm going to encourage you. And if I can, empower and enable. That, I feel, is what my role is in the world.
And that is what I love, Jack. Let me ask you this. We have, everybody is like chanting your name by now. Jack, 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 because that's important, right? But can you give us three things, some little nuggets for the women to take away today and implement for that midlife?
Yeah. So I will tell you the first thing, and I think this is going to resonate with you, given your area of expertise, is if you don't keep your machine functional, you might as well hang it up right now, because it doesn't matter whether you want to be the grandmother who bakes cookies or you want to be the person that travels around the world. You won't be doing either one of those. So if you don't attend to your health, and part of that is being physically fit. And if you are someone, because I used to be, I'm a 3rd degree black belt. I used to train for hours and hours. I've, biked, ran, swam, you name it. And I would train for hours and hours on end. I can't do that anymore as a postmenopausal woman. It is not good for me. What is good for me now is heavy lifting, more HIIT classes, shorter durations, get my heart rate more into an anaerobic state for a short period of time and then bring it down. All of that is what is making my machine functional. You know what I do? I sit my butt on the ground and I refuse to use my hands to get up off the ground. And if every time you as a woman have to sit on the ground out there because you dropped something or you need to fold some clothes on the ground or you're playing something with a kid, don't use your hands to get back up. Don't grab onto a chair to get back up. Figure out how to get back up using your own body, because what you're using is functional movement and core. And that will keep you stable and prevent you from falling in the future and breaking crap, because we break crap as we get older.
Right. That's a challenge from Jack. Y'all hear it, and I'm going to try it. And you do it.
Yeah.
Do a video and show us.
It's not easy, but I will send you a little clip. It's not easy. And at the beginning, it can look ugly, and at the beginning, if you do have to use a hand, but work towards striving to get yourself down on the ground and up off the ground without using assistance. Now, if there's something wrong, if you have an injury, if there is some real debilitation, of course,
Don't
get hurt. Don't be stupid. But if you're just, if you're a healthy, normally aging woman, we start to lose body mass. We start to lose muscle mass, I should say. I wish we lost body mass, but
I am so soft, right? It's like, it's sad. My kid said it's good for me because I talked about my aunt. Like, she was so like, oh my God, I'm so soft. It's not even funny, but
weightlifting is important. Heavy lifting is more important than long bouts of cardio to maintain your health. And, if you are struggling with your hormones, and you're struggling with your medical provider, please, I know it's difficult to say no to people who are in positions of authority. And I know that a lot of us, especially at our age, grew up with this belief that doctors somehow were gods. You know what? They're not. And they were not taught very much about women's health issues because we weren't that important. We weren't even in clinical studies until the 1990s. So the medical profession just doesn't know that much about your body. You have to be an advocate. So if you're struggling and you're frustrated and all you hear is, no, can't do hormone replacement therapy because it causes cancer, do your research. That study was debunked. Find another medical professional. Get on the internet and start digging through, because there is evidence out there to the contrary. And once again, the caveat is, if you have a debilitating issue or if you have cancer in your family or whatever, I am not a doctor. I'm just telling you the things that work for me.
And to research, be an advocate. I think that's what you said, advocate for your health.
Yeah. And the last thing that I have to tell you is get your sleep right. I do not effing care what you need to do to get your sleep right, because that took me years to figure out. I had a partner who snores. And so, and I tried everything. And I couldn't sleep. And then, add the menopause crap that didn't let me sleep. And it took us a long time to figure it out. And it caused issues between us because he took it personally, as if I left the bed. It was a personal affront to him. And I'm like, I love you dearly, but you would no more take water from me. Why are you taking sleep from me? Why do I have to give up sleep? And so you got to have the tough conversations, maybe inside your family. Maybe you need a separate sleep place. Maybe I have these noise cancellation headphones that were expensive, but worth every penny if it's going to prevent me from Alzheimer's.
Because I wear them at night too, but his snoring goes through it. It'll block out everything else, but not his snoring. So
the trick for me is, if I don't get him in before he snores, then all I can do is hear his snoring. If I get them in before he starts snoring and I fall asleep, then I'm okay. But you know what? I now negotiated, if I can't sleep, I can walk away and I can go to a different room, and he doesn't take it personally. We have gotten past it. So you got to get your machine. You got to get your machine to function. You got to get right inside. Your hormones have to get right, because if you don't think hormones run the show, I don't care what lifestyle change you make. If your hormones are playing tricks on a hole inside your body, it doesn't matter what you do. And then you got to get your sleep right.
Those are such valuable nuggets for you guys out there. I mean, Jack is speaking the truth. I'm speaking with you on that as a lady in my midlife. because it has been things that has come up. Literally this morning, I didn't go to bed. I mean, I just got up at 5 o'clock and I was like, forget it. I can't do this. And he's like, what? I'm like, you are snoring. And then I can't get mad at them because they're getting their sleep. But it's me. So I'm like, I'm out. I'm just going to get up. I'm going to work out. I'm starting my day at 5. That's how it's going to be. Yeah. But let me ask you this, Jack, before we wrap it up. 2 questions. One, how do we connect with you again? And the second one is, what is some words of wisdom that you want to leave with us? And of course, I don't even know how I forgot this. Like, how do you take care of yourself? What does your self-care look like? So I guess there's 3.
Yeah. So I'll do the self-care. I lift, I exercise. I don't over-exercise anymore. I don't overtrain. I work on putting myself to bed much earlier than I ever used to, because I figure, the longer I'm there in the bed, the more opportunity I have to have more hours. And I used to have this, I can't go to bed because what if I miss out on something? Nope, no, thank you. So I put myself to bed earlier and I exercise regularly. And the other thing I do, and I think this also is something I do, but these are my words of wisdom, I have community. So all the things that I talked about are really important, but the leading cause of a shortened lifespan is isolation and lack of community. And so you can do all the things that I said, but if you don't have a support system, if you don't have women you can go to and who have your back, and if you're one of these people that are like, well, what am I going to do? I'm 50 something and I don't have any friends now because my kids are gone. And I used to socialize with those families and I don't work for a company anymore. So I spend too much time alone. What am I going to do? It's too late for me. I'm here to tell you, if I did it, you can do it. And I have a huge community of women right now that I started building in my mid 50s. And how I started it, how I cultivated it, how I initially was through the internet, through social media channels. I have taken them off social media channels. I have met these women in real life. I talk to these women on the phone. We do Zoom calls. They are part of my tribe. I can count on them, but I cultivated them and I went looking for them.
Right. That's important. That is important. And you have a whole tribe waiting for us on your website.
I do. I absolutely do. And so if you want to know where to start connecting with some really cool, empowering women that are living their cool life and want to help everyone else live there, just go to Cool Life and check them out. You can befriend almost any one of those women. They're all, listen, if they're on there, it's because I vetted them. I vetted them and they get me and they're on the same path that I'm on. So if what I'm saying resonates with you, if my energy resonates with you, and if I know I'm not everyone's cup of tea, holy cow, do I know that. But if it's landing on you, then yeah, go to Cool Life and start there. I've done the work for you. I've narrowed it down to your first 60 people that you can communicate with and start building a community.
I love it. Thank you so much, Jack. This
My
was
pleasure.
really, really enlightening to me. I feel good. Like, yeah, I got a long time between, having babies and the pen. That's a long time to really enjoy. So I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for coming on, even though you say you don't feel well, but you sound great. You look great. I know you don't feel well, but I appreciate you coming on and talking to us. We all thank you. And until next time, you guys, live fit. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Misfit One Lifestyles. Listen, when you are fed up and sick and tired of living this stifled, overwhelmed, and overstressed life, and you're ready to live the fullest, richest, and healthiest life by gaining more confidence, more energy, and more clarity, living in your best self, you know what to do, right? Go ahead, go to my website, misfit1.com. Sign up for our online courses, Creating a Healthy Habit, so that you too can live fit, focus, move with intention, and transform your life.